Okay, here's one of the most iconic pieces as well in art history. Uh, Pretty much everyone has seen the painting on the right. The artist is Gustav Klimt. It's called The Kiss, and it's number 128. A little background on Gustav Klimt. His father was a metal engraver, and Klimt went to art school in the hopes of becoming a drawing teacher. He was very popular among the elite people in Vienna and was often commissioned by private parties. He was born in 1862. He studied at the Vienna School of Arts and Crafts, and he opened a successful workshop specializing in interior decoration. Um, and then he's going to become a founding member of the Vienna Secession, a movement affiliated with Art Nouveau. And I'm going to talk about Art Nouveau in a second. For Gustav Klimt, he would use a mixture of ornament, mythology, and eroticism, and some were considered shocking. His key works include his well-known painting of The Kiss. Also, he did one of Judith. The one on the upper left is of a personal commission from the Bloch-Bauer family. That's Adele Bloch-Bauer. And there's also one that he does that has like a mother with child in it. It's also very beautiful. So for this one, many of Klimt's paintings would split audiences and receive high praise, but also heavy criticism. He's going to visit Venice and Ravenna in 1903. And if you guys remember what is in Ravenna, we have the Byzantine mosaics of San Vitale, the one of Justinian and Theodora, the one of the Christ as in the judgment. And it really, the gold and how the gold reflects off the light is going to make a lasting impression on him. And that's reflected in the development of his golden style. He doesn't always use gold in his pieces, but it is what he is known for. And almost all the surfaces are covered. He would frequently use geometric or floral elements and figures, and it also takes on a quality of an icon similar to the Byzantine period. So that's definitely a connection. This painting actually is an almost perfect square, which is interesting because when we see it, it usually looks like a rectangular art object, but it is a square. It is currently in the Belvedere Museum in Vienna, and the gold background is a definite reference to the Byzantine mosaics, which also had a gold background. The gold circles rise off the canvas and will catch the light. And the male figure is rectilinear gold patterns, which will contrast with the circles in the female that we see next to him. So there's definitely a focus on decorative patterning, than more so than that, than forms of the body. The figures are flattened, and it makes the ornamental design the most noticeable aspect of the artwork. So his designs were influenced by Art Nouveau, and that's spelled Nouveau, which was mostly seen in architecture at the time, but it was also seen in paintings. And it really did focus on flower motifs and patterning. It was based really in Brussels. Barcelona is definitely have a ton of Art Nouveau. Paris as well, and in Vienna. And it lasted from 1890 until the outbreak of war in 1914. Art Nouveau sought to eliminate the separation among various artistic media and combine them into one unified experience. So an Art Nouveau building was designed, furnished, and decorated by the same artist or artistic team to make it an integrated whole. Stylistically, Art Nouveau relies on vegetal or floral patterns, complexity of design, undulating surfaces. Straight lines are completely avoided, and then there's an accent on the curvilinear. Designers particularly enjoy using elaborately conceived wrought ironwork for balconies, fences, and railings, and structural elements. And you really see that in Barcelona with Antoni Gaudí, who's an architect who lived during this time period. Okay, so let me see what else I have. So with this one, the only exception in regards to the flattening is the female face, which is pretty delicate. The embrace of the female hand on the man's hand and her peaceful expression on her face is supposed to be what makes this piece so unique. The outline around both of them removes them from the background, which may be linked to the transformation of modern world, specifically Vienna, where Klimt was working. Here, Klimt is abstracting the universal experience of the traumas and difficulties of everyday life. Also, the couple is set on a precipice filled with flowers, signifying both danger and the beauty of passion. I know that there's a lot more on the Khan Academy video if you guys like this piece, so I would recommend watching it. The picture on the left is of Adele Bloch-Bauer, and this was a very important piece for Klimt. He definitely was hired a lot to paint different women of the Vienna Society. He took many preparatory studies over several years, and for this one, he created an image of the wife of the most important sugar magnate in Austria at the time. It's definitely inspired by Byzantine mosaic images of Empress Theodora in Ravenna, and Klimt created Golden Adele in all her glory and turning her into an icon. And Adele Bloch-Bauer was not only the most important collectors of Klimt's work, she was probably also his mistress. Klimt painted her twice. In this one, the first version is in 1907. His so-called golden face had reached its peak, and we can't fail to notice the exuberant use of gold. Adele wears a gold dress. She has a gold cloak, gold earrings, gold bracelets, and she sits on a gold seat, and the wallpaper behind her looks like gold rain. She seems encased in precious metals, almost paralyzed it, as if her own wealth was crippling her. It's hard to tell if she was happy. According to her niece, she longed for more intellectual stimulation, was unfulfilled by a marriage of convenience, and Klimt even depicts her as a sickly, weak woman with a half-open mouth, heavy-lidded eyes, which might carry some erotic connotations, but her expression seems tired and thin. She died young. She died before the outbreak of World War II. But this piece is pretty controversial because it was stolen from the Bloch-Bauer family and taken by the Nazis, and it eventually ended up in the Belvedere. And her niece was still alive when during the late 80s and she wanted to get the painting back, and so they made a movie out of it called Woman in Gold, which I'm going to recommend you guys watch later on because it's really good about art restoration and giving art back to the people that it was stolen from the Nazis. This one, it sold in 2006 for a record amount of $135 million, and it can be seen today in the New Gallery in New York. Okay, so that is the Kiss and Adele Bloch-Bauer.